Have you ever wondered what it means to be strong? Is it the one with the bulging muscles who can lift hundreds of pounds without any problems? Or is it the one who always acts tough and never cries in front of others? The truth is, true strength is not just in the body. It lies deeper, in the mind, in the spirit, and in your ability to stand tall when life challenges you. A person may look ordinary from the outside, not tall, not muscular, not even impressive at first sight. But if they know how to keep their spirits up in the face of events, if they are able to stand up after every fall, if they have faith in themselves even when everything seems to be falling apart, then that is true strength. That is the strength that each of us needs in this life. Think about your life. How many times have you failed? How many times have you been rejected, misunderstood, or hurt? And how many times have you felt like giving up? We all have had those moments. Life is not easy. It is full of challenges, disappointments, and invisible pressures that sometimes we don't even know how to name. If you rely on your physical strength to fight it all, you will soon be exhausted. But if you build strength from within, you will become a resilient person. Regardless of adversity, the most important thing to understand is that strength doesn't come naturally. It doesn't fall from the sky. It's cultivated every day, through small habits, through decisions you make in the face of adversity. Strength is a choice, and it's a choice you have to make over and over again. Not just once, but every day, every hour. Why do we need to be strong every day? Because challenges never go away. Today you may face pressure at work. Tomorrow there may be a disagreement at home. And the day after that it may be some painful loss. If you are not mentally prepared, those shocks can easily overwhelm you. But if you have trained yourself to be resilient, no matter what happens, you will still stand firm. A strong person is not someone who never falls, but someone who can always stand up after falling. Imagine this. Life is like a river with fierce waves. If you try to resist it with your muscles, you will quickly become exhausted and be swept away. But if you have a strong spirit, you are like a rock at the bottom of the river. The waves can crash, but you will not be shaken. And the truth is, any of us can become that rock, as long as we train ourselves properly. In this video, I share with you 8 practical and simple tips that, if applied, will help you become stronger every day. These are not some far-fetched philosophies, but principles that you can start today. From learning to accept the things you can't control, to building self-discipline, to learning to keep your mouth shut at the right time. Each principle is a small brick. And when you put them together, you will have a strong wall to protect your own spirit. I want you to remember one thing. True strength is not perfection. You don't have to be tough all the time. And you don't have to hide your pain. Being strong means facing your pain, accepting your vulnerability, but not letting it break you. So, are you ready? Ready to discover the 8 principles that will make you stronger every day? If you've ever felt weak, if you've ever wondered how to not be beaten down by life, this is what you need. Because being strong is not something far away, it's something you can start today. Right now. Have you ever felt frustrated by unexpected events? It rained on the day you planned a picnic. A coworker made a harsh comment. Or an unexpected situation left you completely out of control. We often find ourselves frustrated, stressed, even angry about these things. But stop and think. Is any of this really within your control? The Stoics formulated a simple yet powerful principle thousands of years ago. There are things we can control. And there are things we can't control. It sounds easy, but most of us do the opposite. We spend so much of our energy worrying about things that are out of our control. We forget that we can choose how we respond to them. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not over external events." Let that statement sink in. Because it contains a life-changing truth. You can't control the world, but you can control how you see and react to it. Take this example. When someone criticizes you harshly, our first reaction is often to get angry, defensive, or even want to fight back. But have you noticed? The moment you let your anger take over, you give control to the other person. They say something, you lose your temper, you are no longer in control. Strong people are different. They listen, they choose to remain calm, and they respond calmly. By doing so, they not only maintain their dignity, but also earn the respect of others. Or think about failure. We've all been there. Maybe you put your best foot forward on a project, but the results weren't what you expected. The natural reaction is to blame yourself, feel inadequate, or even give up. But a person who understands this principle thinks differently. Failure is not entirely within my control, but I can control how I learn from it. And when they choose to learn, they turn failure into a valuable lesson rather than a mental pitfall. Ask yourself this question. How many times today have you wasted energy complaining or getting upset about something you can't change? Traffic jams, rising prices, people not behaving as you expected. None of these things need your attention anymore. The only thing you should be focusing on is, how can I respond to this situation better? When you actually live by this principle, you will feel a lot lighter. The pressure will be less because you are not trying to change the impossible. You will put your energy into doing what you can, improving yourself, adjusting your attitude, and choosing your responses wisely. And in doing so, you will feel stronger than ever. I remember a time when I lost an important opportunity due to something completely out of my control. At first I felt unfair and angry, because I had clearly done my best. But then I realized, my anger did not bring back the opportunity. It only took away my peace. So I chose to learn from the experience, focusing on what I could do next time. And that decision changed the way I approached future challenges. Every day, life will bring you unpredictable things. But remember, external events do not define you. How you react to them defines you. If you choose to calm down instead of get angry, learn instead of whine, get up instead of quit, you are building true strength. So the question for you is, today, will you continue to let things beyond your control rule your mind? Or will you choose to master your response? The answer will determine whether you are truly strong or not. Have you noticed that most of the people you admire, whether they are athletes, business people, or artists, have one thing in common: they are disciplined. And the interesting thing is, discipline is not the constraint, coercion, or loss of freedom that many people think. In fact, discipline is the foundation of all strength, and the highest expression of self-love. Just imagine, if every morning you let yourself sleep in an extra hour. If every time you have a difficult task you find an excuse to procrastinate. If every day you give in to your momentary emotions instead of your long-term goals. What would happen to you? It's easy to slip into bad habits without even realizing it. Discipline is the rope that pulls you out of that spiral. It's like a compass, always reminding you to focus on what's most important, instead of getting lost in short-term temptations. Many people think that all they need is inspiration to do anything. But inspiration doesn't always come. If you wait for inspiration, you'll be chasing random moments. But if you have discipline, you'll take action even when you don't feel like it. And it's the actions you take on those uninspired days that truly build strength. Take a simple example. Someone who maintains the habit of waking up on time, exercising for 30 minutes, and spending at least 20 minutes learning something new every day. These things may sound small, but accumulated over a year, you will see a huge difference. Their body is healthier, their mind is clearer, and most importantly, they build confidence in themselves. Compared to someone who only does things when in the mood. A disciplined person will always go further. So how do you build discipline? First, don't set your goals too high at the beginning. Discipline doesn't come from perfect plans. It comes from small, consistent steps. Start with something simple that you can do every day, like taking a 10-minute walk, reading a page of a book, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for. It's not the amount that counts. It's the repetition. Second, learn to recognize progress rather than just the big picture. If you set a goal of losing 20 pounds, it's easy to get discouraged by seeing slow changes. But if you pay attention to the little things, like how much you ate better today, or how much you exercised 5 minutes longer than yesterday, you'll see yourself making progress. And that recognition will feed your discipline. Third, and most difficult, learn to say no. The world is full of short-term temptations, from social media to fast food to tempting offers that don't help you achieve your long-term goals. Every time you dare to say no to a temptation, you are saying yes to a more powerful version of yourself. People who lack discipline often think they are enjoying freedom, but they are actually slaves to their immediate emotions. Disciplined people, on the other hand, are truly free, because they are in control of themselves. I once met a friend who initially complained that he couldn't change himself. He said, "I don't have enough motivation to exercise. I don't have enough interest to study more." But then one day, he decided to try a small discipline, going to bed 30 minutes earlier and waking up 30 minutes earlier every day. After a few weeks, he started doing light exercise, then gradually maintained it regularly. After a few months, he completely changed his body and spirit. It didn't come from inspiration. It came from discipline. The question is, do you want to be in control of yourself? Or do you want to be controlled by your emotions and short-term temptations? Every little decision you make every day, from whether to turn off your alarm and wake up on time, to whether to eat healthy or indulge, is a step toward building or destroying your power. Remember, discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the path to true freedom. Freedom from procrastination, freedom from bad habits, and freedom to live in alignment with your goals. And once you have discipline, you have a solid foundation on which to build any other strength in your life. Have you ever wondered why some people collapse so quickly when faced with adversity, while others stand firm and even stronger after experiencing challenges? The answer lies in something Stoic philosophy calls voluntary hardship, the willingness to endure hardship. Sounds strange, right? We tend to avoid hardship. We all like comfort and ease. But the Stoics believe that to be truly strong, you must actively engage in small hardships to train your mind and spirit. Because if you only live in your comfort zone, when the real challenge comes, you will be shocked and easily defeated. Imagine, if you were used to sleeping in a comfortable bed, eating well and always having everything you want, then when you are suddenly faced with deprivation, your body and mind will react violently. But if you train yourself to endure small difficulties, you will become much more resilient and steadfast. For example, instead of always taking a hot shower, try taking a cold shower. At first, your body will be shocked. You will feel shaky and uncomfortable. But after a few times, you will realize that not only do you get used to it, but you also feel more alert and your body healthier. It is not only a physical exercise, but also a mental exercise. You are teaching yourself, I can handle more than I think. Or try taking a long walk instead of driving. You'll feel tired and your legs will ache, but you'll also build up your stamina, both physically and mentally. Or, simply eat frugally for a few days, not relying on comfort. All of these little things are vaccines for the bigger challenges in life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Prepare your mind for the hardships, for they will surely come," and he was right. Life doesn't promise you an easy ride. There will be days when you lose your job, or days when you'll be betrayed, or days when your health will decline. If you've built up your resilience, you won't be shocked or panicked. You'll have the attitude, even if it hurts, I'll stand. I remember once going hiking with a group of friends. The sun was scorching. The road was long and rocky. Many complained. Some gave up halfway. But one of my friends kept walking steadily, without a word of complaint. When asked, he said, "I have made it a habit to run early in the morning, regardless of wind or rain. Today is just another challenge." It was the previous training that helped him overcome it more easily. And I realized, endurance does not come naturally. It is built from small challenges every day. So how can you apply this to your daily life? Start simple. Next time it rains, instead of complaining, see it as an opportunity to challenge yourself. Walk in the rain and smile. When faced with a difficult task, instead of avoiding it, face it head on and see it as an exercise in growth. When given the opportunity to choose between easy and difficult, sometimes choose the slightly more difficult path. A strong person is not someone who never suffers, but someone who knows how to endure suffering without being defeated by it. Every time you voluntarily accept a small difficulty, you are building a layer of antibodies for your spirit. When adversity really strikes, you will no longer be weak and helpless. You will be a person who stands firm, calm and resilient. Ask yourself, what can you do today to build your resilience? It could be a tough workout, a small challenge, or just stepping outside your comfort zone. Because each of these actions is how you build your resilience for life, so that no matter what happens, you can say, "I'm okay, I'm still standing." Have you ever looked back at a moment when you lost control and asked yourself, why did I react that way? Maybe it was when you were angry and said something that hurt someone. Maybe it was when sadness took over and left you feeling unmotivated and unable to get up. Or maybe it was those sleepless nights of worrying, thinking over and over again without getting anything done. The truth is, emotions, if left unchecked, can become our greatest enemy, weakening us faster than anything else. Think about anger. The moment you let it explode, you are no longer yourself. Reason is pushed aside, and every decision you make is based on anger. You can win an argument, but lose respect. You can knock someone down with words, but then you feel empty. It is often said, a moment of anger can destroy a lifetime of work. And it is more true than you think. What about sadness? If you let it linger, it's like a slow rain, extinguishing the fire inside you day by day. Hour by hour, you start to lose interest in everything, no longer want to try, and then you realize, it's not because the situation is too harsh, but because you've allowed that feeling to stay for too long. Worrying is the same. It takes more mental energy than any other activity. You worry about the future. You worry about things that haven't happened yet. And eventually, you have no energy left to live in the present. There's a great saying, worrying is like paying off a debt you never incurred. So how do you control your emotions? First, distance yourself from them. Instead of saying, I am angry, say, I am feeling angry. It may sound small, but this change helps you realize that you and your emotions are not one. You are observing them, not being controlled by them. Second, give yourself a few seconds to breathe deeply before reacting. You'll be surprised how much calmer you'll feel after just 3 slow, deep breaths. A decision made in the heat of the moment can ruin a relationship, but a calm response can save it. Third, start journaling. Don't underestimate this. Writing down your feelings is like lifting a burden from your head. When you write down, I feel frustrated today, because you release it from your mind, and you can look at it from a different, more peaceful perspective. I remember witnessing a situation in public. A person was severely insulted, but instead of arguing back, he chose to remain silent. He stood up straight, looked at the other person, and then turned away. The crowd around him respected him, while the insulter made himself look like a loser. It was a clear demonstration that true strength lies not in how violently you react, but in how you maintain your dignity and composure. You see, controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It means mastering them, instead of letting them master you. Anger, sadness, anxiety, they're all part of being human. But you have a choice, whether you let them drag you down, or use them as a reminder to be stronger. So, the next time you feel an emotion rising, ask yourself, do I want to let this emotion control me? Or do I want to master it? The answer will determine whether you are truly strong or not. We often think that to change our lives, we need to do something big, like a grand project, a perfect plan, or a spectacular leap. But the truth is far from it. True power lies not in the big things you do once, but in the small actions you take consistently, day in and day out. Take a look at yourself. How many times have you started something new with great enthusiasm, a gym membership, a skill, a lifestyle change, only to give up after a few weeks? Not because you weren't good enough, but because you put too much pressure on yourself to start. You expected to change everything at once, and when it didn't, you lost faith in yourself. On the other hand, people who are truly persistent understand one principle: small actions, but consistently, will bring about big changes. Imagine, every day you read only 5 pages of a book. Sounds small, right? But after a year, you have read more than 10 books. And that knowledge will definitely change the way you think, the way you live. Or every day, you spend 15 minutes exercising. 6 months later, your body and energy will be completely different. It is not a miracle, but the power of accumulation. I remember reading a quote once: you don't have to do something great to get started, but you have to get started to do something great. And small steps are the gateway to getting started. Don't think that only big leaps are important. In fact, it's the small, consistent steps that will get you where you want to go. The problem is, we often underestimate small actions. We think, what good is 5 pages? But the truth is, Those 5 pages are more than just a number. They're a promise you're making to yourself. They prove that you can persist. And when you persist long enough, you'll see results so big they'll surprise you. Think of it this way. One small drop of water is nothing. But thousands, millions of drops can erode a rock. So why doubt the power of small steps in your life? If you want to change, don't try too hard and then give up. Pick one small thing and stick with it. For example, do you want to be healthier? Start by drinking an extra glass of water every morning. Do you want to gain knowledge? Start by reading for 10 minutes before bed. Do you want to improve your mental health? Start by writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day. It sounds simple, but if you do it consistently for 30 days, you'll notice a big difference. It is a fact that the human brain is programmed to form habits from repeated actions. A small thing, if done consistently, becomes a part of who you are, and when small habits accumulate, they reshape your entire life. The question is, are you willing to start something small today? Don't wait until you have the time, the resources, or the inspiration. You will never have the perfect situation to start, but you can create a small habit right now, and that habit will lead you to a stronger version of yourself. A strong person is not someone who does extraordinary things in a day. A strong person is someone who chooses one small action, repeats it every day, and lets it lead to lasting change. So today, instead of asking, "What do I need to do to change my whole life?" ask, "What's one small thing I can do today?" Because you don't have to do it all. You just have to start. And when you start, all doors open. Have you ever found yourself in a pointless argument? Maybe it's about a comment online, a provocative remark from someone, or a situation where you know no matter how much you say, nothing will change, yet you get sucked in anyway, wasting your time, your energy, and even your peace of mind. And then you ask yourself, why did I bother with this? The truth is, you don't always have to speak up. You don't always have to prove yourself right. Sometimes, silence is a sign of strength. Because when you stay silent, you don't give control of your emotions to others. You are still in control of yourself, while the other person exposes their anger and weakness to everyone. People often think that silence is a sign of weakness, of not daring to confront. But in fact, to be silent at the right time, you need a much greater inner strength than to react explosively. Keeping silent is not because you have nothing to say, but because you choose not to let your words fall into a useless place. Think about social media. How many times have you seen an argument that has hundreds of comments? Each person insisting they are right, and no one listening to anyone else. What do they get out of it? Usually nothing but frustration. Meanwhile, if you choose not to participate, you keep your peace and save hours of your life. Another example. In real life, when someone deliberately provokes you, if you react, they get what they want. They have made you lose your temper. But if you keep quiet, smile and walk away, you maintain your dignity. The other person will look at you with respect, and the provocateur will reveal his own pettiness. I once witnessed such a situation in a meeting. A colleague openly criticized him very harshly. Instead of fighting back, the criticized person just sat quietly and listened, without justifying or getting angry. After the meeting, many people came up to him and shook his hand and said, "I really admire the way you handled it." It was clear evidence that silence is not a weakness, but a proud strength. Remember, you have a limited amount of energy each day. If you let it get drained by pointless arguments, you won't have enough left to focus on what really matters: work, family, personal growth. Keeping quiet at the right times is how you protect your energy. Strong people understand that they don't need to win every argument. They don't need everyone's approval. They just need to live up to their values, and let their actions speak louder than their words. That's true victory. So the next time you find yourself in a pointless argument, ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? If the answer is no, choose silence. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful voice. Do you realize that what you feed your mind determines whether you are strong or weak? Think about it. If you spend all your time focusing on negative things, comparing yourself to others, and drowning in worries and disappointments, you will find yourself tired and exhausted. But if you feed your mind with positivity, even when difficulties come, you will still be able to stand firm. Our mind is like a garden. If you plant negative seeds, sooner or later they will grow into thorns, causing pain and frustration. But if you plant positive seeds, faith, gratitude, hope, the garden will become green and full of life. A strong person is not someone who never experiences sadness, but someone who chooses to see the positive in the face of adversity. I want to share with you a simple but powerful exercise. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. It can be something as simple as a delicious meal, a friend to talk to, or even just a beautiful morning. When you focus on the good things, you train your mind to see the light instead of the dark. And over time, you'll find your spirit growing stronger and lighter. Also, be mindful of what you feed your mind every day. If you spend hours scrolling through negative news, online arguments, or fear-mongering content, you're going to be affected. Instead, choose to read inspirational books, listen to positive podcasts, or watch content that helps you grow. This is how you choose the mental food for your mind, just as you choose healthy food for your body. Let's take a real-life example. When a person fails at something, they may think, "I am incompetent, I am not good enough." This thinking only weakens them, makes them lose confidence, and makes them more likely to give up. But a person with a positive mindset will think, "This failure is a lesson. It shows me where I need to improve to become more mature." And that thinking turns failure into a stepping stone for them to move forward. I once heard a great quote, "When you change the way you look at things, everything you look at changes." This doesn't mean we pretend everything is fine, but we choose a perspective that makes us stronger instead of weaker. Ask yourself, what kind of thoughts do you tend to entertain more often? Negative or positive? And if you find yourself letting negativity take over today, start making changes. It doesn't have to be anything big, just a small step, like keeping a gratitude journal, or spending 10 minutes a day reading a good book. A strong person is not someone who avoids the hard truth, but someone who knows how to face it with a hopeful mind. They choose to believe that even in pain, there is a lesson. Even in failure, there is an opportunity to grow. And it is that choice that helps them go further, more sustainably. So, from today, feed your mind with positivity. Feed it with good seeds. Nurture it with gratitude, and protect it from toxic energies. Because in the end, mental strength doesn't come from the outside. It comes from what you choose to feed your mind every day. I want to ask you a very simple question. In the midst of life's storms, work pressures, bills coming due, children who need you, health issues, what keeps you from being swept away? For me, it's the lighthouse of a big goal. When the waves come, the ship doesn't look at the foaming water. It looks at the light in the distance to know where it's going. It's the same with people. If you don't have a goal, you're more likely to give up, to be pulled along by emotions or circumstances. But when you have a big enough goal, you have a direction to keep going, even if it's just a small step on the worst day. A great goal is not a pretty title to stick on the wall. It is a commitment to yourself. This is what I live for. For others, it might be becoming a doctor, 10 years of studying, internships, night shifts, sweating in hospitals. No one gets through that journey on a whim. They get through it because every time they feel tired, they recall their beacon. Save lives, cure diseases, be useful, and that beacon keeps them going through all the hardships. So how do you figure out your big purpose? Start with, why? Why do you want a better job? Why do you want financial freedom? Why do you want to be healthy? Ask, why? Until the answer taps into your deepest values, family, dignity, freedom, giving back to your community. When a goal is tied to a value, it's no longer a cold number, it's what gets you out of bed in the morning. Once you have a clear long-term goal, don't let it hang in the air. Bring it down to earth with short-term steps. I often use a simple formula. 1 big goal, right pointing arrow, 3 90-day milestones, right pointing arrow, 5 weekly actions, right pointing arrow, 1 must-have, daily habit. For example, the big goal is to speak English confidently to expand opportunities in the US. 90-day milestones. Complete a conversation course. Read aloud 3 articles a day. Participate in 4 exchanges with native speakers. Weekly actions. 5 pronunciation practice sessions. 2 recorded conversations to listen back to. Daily habit. 20 minutes of no compromise English. When you turn your goal into an appointment with yourself, the path becomes clear. Don't wait for motivation to get going. Create a willpower insurance with simple if-then rules. If I get off work at 6, I'll go for a brisk walk around the block at 6:30 to 6:50. If it's raining, I'll work out at home. This cuts out the hesitation, the moment when you're most likely to get off track. Here's another tip. Reduce friction for important tasks. Leave your shoes at the door. Books on the table. Increase friction for temptations. Keep snacks on a high shelf. Turn off social media notifications during focus time. There will be days when you're tired, weeks when you're off course. Don't say, "I failed." Adjust your course but keep your destination the same. Be firm in your goals. Flexible in your methods. Marathon runners don't quit because of a headwind, they slow down. Take a deep breath, hydrate, and keep going. The same goes for life. When you miss a class, don't punish yourself. Come back right away. Consistency is more important than perfection. I know a single mom in California who works 2 jobs. Her big goal? To switch careers to the medical field so she can spend more time with her kids and have a steady income. She set 90-day deadlines for each module, studied on the bus, listened to medical podcasts while cooking, and did 30 minutes of no-compromise homework every night. 2 years later, she finished her certification, found a new job, and most importantly, kept her promise to herself. There was no magic bullet, just a very clear lighthouse and small steps that didn't give up. You can do the same thing for any goal: health, career, finances, relationships, spirituality. Write a short lighthouse sentence. I do this because. Then choose 3 90-day milestones that will move you closer to that light. And today, just today, choose one small action to take for 20 minutes. When you end the day with a step, you've proven to yourself, I am a man of my word. Before I close, I want you to ask yourself, if you could accomplish only one goal this year, what would make your life more meaningful? Write it down. Put it where you can see it every morning. Whenever you feel tired, lift your head, look back to your lighthouse. And remember, a ship doesn't need calm seas to reach port. It needs a compass and a light to keep going. If you're up for it, here's a 7-day challenge. Day 1, write your lighthouse sentence. Day 2, pick 3 90-day milestones. Days 3 to 7, do 20 minutes of no compromise each day toward your goal. 7 days won't change your life, but it will change how you see yourself. When you see that you can keep your word for 7 days, you'll believe that you can keep your word for a year. And that's when big goals start to become a reality. As we come to the end of this journey, you may have realized one thing. Power is not a given. Nor is it reserved for a special few. Power is a choice. It comes from how you choose to live each day. Remember the 8 principles we went through together. First, accept what is beyond your control. There are many things in life you cannot change: the weather, what other people say, unexpected events, but you can always control how you react to them. Second, be disciplined. Don't wait for inspiration to act. Discipline, the small habits repeated every day, is the foundation for your strength. Third, build resilience. The hardships you willingly face today are the vaccines that will help you withstand tomorrow's storms. Fourth, control your emotions. Don't let anger, sadness, or anxiety control you. Master them to maintain dignity and calm in all situations. Fifth, focus on small actions. Don't think about doing something big all at once. Small, consistent steps create lasting change. Sixth, keep silent about meaningless things. Sometimes, silence is the greatest strength, helping you save energy for what is really important. Seventh, cultivate a positive mind, because what you sow in your mind will bloom in your life. Choose to sow good seeds. And finally, always remember the big goal, the lighthouse that guides you through the storms, keeping you from getting lost. You see, strength is not a given. It is not a matter of luck, but of consistent practice every day. You don't need to be a superhero. You just need to choose to live with discipline, perseverance, and a positive heart. I know what you're thinking. Where do I start? There are so many things to change. Don't worry, you don't have to do them all at once. Just pick one of these 8 tips and start implementing it today. It could be writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or taking 15 minutes to exercise, or simply taking a deep breath before reacting. Any small thing is enough to start. And then, after a month, you will be surprised to see yourself change. You are calmer when faced with pressure. You are more stable when faced with challenges. And you are stronger, not because life is less difficult, but because you have trained yourself to master yourself. Imagine a year from now. If you consistently choose to live strong every day, what version of yourself will you be? A person who is confident, steadfast, unshakable, and able to inspire those around you. So, don't wait until tomorrow. Right now, choose a small step to nurture your inner strength. Remember, being strong is not a distant destination. Being strong is an action you choose. Repeat, day by day, and if you do decide to do it today, then congratulations. You have begun your journey to becoming the strongest version of yourself.